The front door slammed so hard the framed photo of our 10th anniversary jumped off the wall and shattered on the hardwood. Glass sprang like ice across the entryway where I stood holding a single duffel bag, and the echo of my own heartbeat. Sarah's face was unrecognizable, eyes swollen red, lips trembling with something between rage and terror, and behind her, clutching a crumpled tissue, our 16-year-old daughter Lily stared at me like I was a stranger wearing her father's skin. "Get out," Sarah whispered first, then screamed it, the words slicing straight through the 22 years I'd spent building a life inside these walls. "Take whatever you need and never come back." I opened my mouth but nothing came. Only the taste of copper where I'd bitten my tongue to keep from begging in front of the child we'd raised together. It started 3 weeks earlier, though I wouldn't piece the timeline together until much later, when the nights were long and the silence in my new apartment pressed against my eardrums like water. I came home from the late shift at the firm, shoulders aching from 12 hours of spreadsheets, and found Sarah in the kitchen with her phone face down on the marble island, screen still glowing through the case. She flinched when I kissed the back of her neck, the way I'd done every night since Lily was in diapers. "Long day?" I asked, reaching for the bottle of red we kept above the fridge. She nodded too quickly, fingers curling around the phone like it might leap away. "Lily's upstairs doing homework," she said, voice pitched half an octave higher than usual. I chalked it up to exhaustion. We'd both been burning the candle at both ends since Lily started preparing for the SAT. But that night, when I rolled over to trace the familiar curve of Sarah's spine under the sheets, she stayed rigid, breathing shallow, until I pretended to fall asleep just to give her permission to relax. The first real fracture appeared on a Tuesday that smelled like rain. I'd forgotten my laptop charger at the office and doubled back, cutting through the alley behind the house instead of the front walk. Through the kitchen window I saw them, Sarah and Lily, heads bent together over Sarah's phone, both of them crying. My key was already in the lock, but something glued my feet to the wet concrete. Lily's voice carried, thin and shaking. "He'll hate me if he finds out." Sarah shushed her, thumb stroking the screen like it was a wounded animal. "We'll fix this before he ever has to know." I told myself it was college stress, money, anything ordinary. I slipped away before they heard the gate creak and spent the night on the couch in my office, pretending I'd pulled an all-nighter for a client. Doubt is a slow drip, not a flood. It starts with a missed glance across the breakfast table, the way Sarah's laugh no longer reached her eyes when I told the same stupid joke about the copier jamming. It grows in the spaces where touch used to live, her hand no longer finding mine under the restaurant table, the bed growing colder inch by inch until we slept like parentheses facing away from the middle. I cataloged the changes the way accountants catalog discrepancies. One extra glass in the dishwasher that wasn't mine, the faint scent of a cologne I didn't recognize clinging to the throw pillows, Lily avoiding my eyes when I asked about her day. I hated myself for the ledger I was keeping. Hated the way suspicion tasted like rust in my mouth every time I swallowed. Then came the night that broke the dam. I was in the garage sorting tools, looking for the wrench to fix Lily's bike chain, when I knocked over a cardboard box labeled, "Sarah, old phone." The cracked iPhone 6 inside lit up like it had been waiting. Muscle memory guided my thumb to our old passcode, Lily's birthday, and the Messages app opened to a thread with a contact saved as L. The previews alone stopped my heart. I can't keep lying to him. He suspects something. We have to tell him before he finds out. The last text was time-stamped 11:47 p.m., the night Sarah had cried in the kitchen. I scrolled up, each bubble a fresh wound. Lily's words, not some strangers. Lies about me. Drinking at work, coming home late with lipstick on my collar, yelling at her until she locked herself in the bathroom. Sarah's replies were frantic denials at first, then questions, then belief. The final exchange was from 2 days ago. "He grabbed my wrist tonight, Mom. I'm scared. We're getting you out of this house. I'll file tomorrow." My knees hit the oil-stained floor. The wrench clattered like a gunshot. I read it again, until the screen blurred and I realized I was crying so hard the phone slipped from my shaking fingers. 22 years of mortgage payments, of midnight fevers and school plays, of whispering I love you while our daughter slept between us after nightmares. All of it balanced on a teenager's fiction. I don't know how long I sat there before Sarah's silhouette filled the doorway, backlit by the kitchen glow. "What are you doing with that?" Her voice cracked like thin ice. I held up the phone. She crossed the garage in 3 strides, snatched it, and for one terrifying second I thought she might hit me with the wrench still lying between us. Instead she sank onto the workbench, face crumpling. "She's my baby," she whispered. She was crying. She showed me bruises. "There are no bruises," I said, and the words came out flat, dead. "Look at her arms, Sarah. Look at me." She did neither. She stared at the phone like it might sprout new messages absolving her. I waited for the apology, the unraveling. The moment she'd choose the man she built a life with over the child she was terrified of losing. It never came. Instead she said, "Pack a bag. The lawyer's papers will be ready in the morning." I left at dawn with the duffel and the clothes on my back. The divorce petition arrived by courier 2 days later, citing irreconcilable differences and requesting sole custody for the safety of the minor child. I sat on the sagging motel bed and laughed until I gagged. Laughed at the irony of being erased from my own daughter's life by the person I'd taught to ride a bike. My sister Jen drove 3 hours to sit with me while I stared at the walls. "Fight it," she said. "DNA doesn't lie." But I couldn't imagine dragging Lily into a courtroom, watching her spin more stories under oath. I signed the financial disclosure, initialed every page that stripped me of the house, the dog, the college fund I'd started when Lily was 3. I kept only the photo of the 3 of us at Disneyland, the one where Sarah's head is thrown back mid-laugh and Lily's Mickey ears are too big for her head. The truth surfaced in pieces, the way a drowned body bumps against the pier until someone finally notices. First the school counselor called. Lily had missed 3 sessions, claimed family emergency. Then my coworker Mark, who coached Lily's soccer team, mentioned she'd quit after I stopped showing up to games. Each breadcrumb led back to the same rotting loaf. I hired a private investigator not for revenge but for proof, something concrete to wave in front of Sarah before she auctioned off our life. The report came back with screenshots from Lily's Finsta. Posts about wanting to live with her real friends in California. About how if Dad were gone Mom would finally let her transfer schools. The bruises? Makeup tutorial gone wrong. Documented in a now-deleted TikTok. The late nights? Study groups that ended with Uber receipts to a boyfriend's house. Every accusation a carefully placed landmine designed to blow up the one obstacle between Lily and the freedom she thought adulthood promised. I mailed Sarah the report with no note, just a sticky tab on the page that read Page 7. Read it out loud to her. She showed up at the motel 3 nights later, eyes hollow, hair unwashed, clutching the papers like a death certificate. "I made her read every line," she said. Her voice was gravel. She cried, then she got angry. Then she admitted everything. Sarah sank onto the carpet because the room had no chairs. She said she was scared of growing up here, scared of disappointing us both. That lying felt easier than asking to leave. She looked up at me, mascara tracks carving rivers down her cheeks. "I chose her fear over 22 years of you. I'm so sorry doesn't cover it." We sat in silence long enough for the ice machine down the hall to cycle twice. I wanted to hate her, wanted the anger to cauterize the wound, but all I felt was the hollow where trust used to live. "Did you ever love me enough to ask me directly?" I said. She nodded, then shook her head, then nodded again. "I was drowning," she whispered, "and I pulled you under to save her." I thought of Lily at 6, missing her front teeth, asking if Daddy's ever left. I promised her forever. Sarah had promised me the same in front of 200 people and a priest. Promises, it turns out, have expiration dates printed in microscopic ink. The divorce went through uncontested. Sarah kept the house. I kept my name on the mortgage until Lily graduated, a final tether I couldn't bring myself to cut. We sold the Disney photo at the estate sale. Some couple bought it thinking it was vintage happiness. Lily texts sometimes, short bursts of guilt and emojis, but the words feel borrowed from therapy worksheets. Sarah and I meet once a month at the diner where we had our first date, splitting coffee refills in silence. She's thinner now, eyes older than her 44 years. Last week she slid an envelope across the table. Inside was the cracked iPhone 6, screen finally dark. "I kept it as a reminder," she said. "Some lies you can't delete." I still flinch when a door slams. I still check my phone for messages that will never come. But I've learned that love isn't the promise. It's the choice to keep choosing, even when the evidence says run. Sarah chose wrong, And I chose to walk away before I became the villain in someone else's story. The scar tissue is thick now, but underneath it beats the same heart that once believed forever was a place you could build with 2 decades and a daughter's laughter. Some nights I stand on the balcony of my one-bedroom and watch other families' lights blink on, yellow squares of ordinary life, and I understand the cruelest truth of all. The people we love most can destroy us not with affairs or secrets, but with the quiet, devastating decision to believe we're capable of becoming someone we're not.